Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to Play by Play's Q&A, where we feature a variety of professional artists in the entertainment industry. Uh, I just want to say today that our upgraded internet has not arrived yet. so should we be a little pixelated? You can't see well. I think the audio will remain fine. And besides, it's not Carolyn. I'm Mary. This is Carolyn. It's not us that you've come on to see. It is our special guest. And I'm very excited about this guest. I've known her for a while. She is one of the most versatile performers I have ever met, and has an impressive array of performing credits from Broadway, off-Broadway, television, opera.
Play-by-play theater.
Yes, that too. Regional, across the country, and such a variety of roles. But what is really cool about her, in addition to that, of course, is that she hails from Green Bay. So let's welcome Jessica Tyler Wright. Woo!
Go Pack Go. That started off with Go Pack Go. I should be wearing my jersey. What's wrong with me?
Oh, what happened to that?
We should have.
I mean, I am still a little bit in mourning over the loss that happened at the end of the season last season, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
People should know you are a rabid Packer fan.
Oh, they have no idea. I flew my daughter to Green Bay this past season for her very first Green Bay Packer game, and I forced the foam finger on her. I'm like, we are buying you swag, so we got her a hat, and she sat there for the whole game in all of her winter garb. I'm like, this is football, Emma. I think she enjoyed it though.
How old is it now?
6.5.
Yeah.
6.5, she will tell you.
And a half. Those halves matter. I don't do halves anymore.
No, we just do like vague. I'm in my
birthday
things.
Or something. You know, I'm not even doing decades anymore. But hey, speaking of things that we do celebrate, congratulations on your recent wedding anniversary.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, it was a quiet anniversary at home.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Now, I have many friends who are avid Disney fans, and I'm actually wearing for you, Jessica, my Mickey Mouse shirt.
I might be able to.
But
okay, if I can.
To make all the Disney fans jealous out there, where did you get married
Am I doing that
again?
properly? Can you see?
Yes, you are.
There we go. I'm doing it so that you can't actually see way behind me, which is where all of our laundry is, because we're classy. You know, we try to set this up as a classy shot.
I've always
JT Dubs. Oh, so somebody likes the JT Dubs. That's, by the way, that's my rap name. It was not. It was given to me. I didn't choose it. So there we are. I like it though.
So did you tell everybody where you got married?
Oh, I got married at Disney World. In fact, not just married, but he proposed to me at Disney World a year before. Because
did you marry Mickey Mouse or something?
No, Mickey wasn't there. Mickey wasn't there for the proposal. However, they had extended magic hours at the Kingdom, and we thought, oh, we're engaged. Now what? Well, you go ride Space Mountain, obviously. So we went into it after being engaged and calling the family and all that. We went into the Magic Kingdom and met Mickey and Minnie on the way. Had our picture. He congratulated us. I have photos to prove it. And then rode Space Mountain. It was awesome. Like you do. I mean, doesn't everybody?
So you're a rabid Packer fan and a Disney fan. Yeah. Mickey most particularly, right? Yeah.
Mickey Mouse, and poor Emma. Her bedroom is still classic Mickey. Although I think she likes it for now. until she really forms opinions. And I think, well, if she doesn't, she and Daddy might actually be watching this right now from the kitchen, or she can hear me through the door.
I can hear you. Yeah, you guys are a class act. That's like you're a very unpretentious person, Jessica. That's what I like about you. You're really, really, dare I say, normal. But I mean that in a really cool way. You're a cool normal. Or maybe you're just next to normal.
That, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that.
That's a good compliment these days, right?
Yeah, really good.
We're thinking of our new normal.
Yeah.
Did this virus, this affect you? How did it impact you at the time? Were you working?
Well, what's interesting is my career was kind of going through a little bit of a transition where I, just because of opportunity, there wasn't as much opportunity for agelessness, we were saying at the beginning.
Yes.
There isn't as much opportunity on Broadway, in theater in general. And so, but what has exploded is every streaming app has TV now, has TV shows and series and this, that, and the other thing. Mm-hmm. And especially here in New York, you don't have to be in Hollywood to get a TV or an on-camera job anymore. So much is being filmed here in New York. And in fact, I don't need to disclose exactly where I live, but I live in an area that every week before the whole lockdown happened, every week you would not be able to cross the street without coming across some set for some TV show. Yeah. In fact, there's a delightful banquet hall across the street, and it is it has exceptional character, which is a very polite way of putting it. A very next to normal way of putting it. It in fact was closed for about 2.5 weeks, and that is where all of the Las Vegas footage for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was filmed. That was the Vegas. Casino.
Oh, interesting.
So, so anyway, all of that explanation, long-winded way to say I'm making this transition into TV and film, and things were just starting to pick up. I'm in fact being lit by my selfie ring right now. So the on-camera thing.
That's such a trend right now.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to humor yourself, if you want to humor yourself, just go on Amazon and look up selfie ring lights and take a look at some of the individuals modeling for that's how I imagined myself when shopping for selfie ring lights. Yeah. But here we are, and it's glorious.
Well, that makes sense too. We were speaking with Renee Lawless yesterday, who does all television work now, and how this has impacted her. But you make that same point that it's highlighting other options for a performer. That is.
Yeah. Well, and it'll pick back up. It will pick back up. My heart aches and breaks for theater and for live performance because you just don't know how quickly it will come back, how quickly people will feel comfortable sitting in an audience, how quickly people will feel comfortable traveling to New York City. Yeah. But I feel selfishly and personally in a little maybe a little better position because I've begun the transition already and really focused on the TV film aspect. Oh, hi, my screen went dark. There we are. So I'm already on the path for, I think, one of the sides of the industry that might hopefully pick up a little more quickly because people, while they're not as readily comfortable going to the theater, they will probably demand their new TV shows rather quickly if they're stuck at home.
Yes, yeah. I agree with that. I agree.
So there might be more of a demand for it. And honestly, there might be a safer way to be able to do it rather than
it's
live performance.
It can be certainly a much more controlled environment on a set.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Carolyn Silverberg, who has a far more eloquent way of being able to speak. Thank you. Yes, there we are.
Now, Jessica, your training has been in theater, music, and
Yes.
theater. So how do you make that transition from stage to TV? Because I know the first thing I know you did on TV, wasn't that Blue Bloods?
It was a TV commercial, in fact, for Nexium.
Nexium that was before Blue Bloods.
Yeah. And then, yes, Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck. Oh, wait, let me pick that back up. Wait. Tom Selleck. That's
a big name you dropped there.
I have a few of these moments. Oh, there she is.
There she is. And we're looking at her as if we're Tom Selleck.
Oh my God, where's Tom Selleck? Oh, this is cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There she is. I'm a CNN type reporter. Funny thing about that scene, if I could just add this little tidbit.
Yeah.
So when I was given the script, it just said reporter. And I think if you look in the credits at the end, it still says reporter. But when you rehearse the scene first, and he this is like old hat to him. So he sits down, and it's just I'm interviewing him as his character, Commissioner Reagan.
Yeah.
I can't believe I pulled that out of the archives. Wow. Anyhow, so I'm interviewing him, and then he stops the scene. He's like, "Yeah, that was good." He goes, "But you know what? I feel like instead of it starting with the scene starting with her her wrapping it up, I think I should probably say thank you, because we've been sitting here doing this interview for a while, right?" And the script writers are like, "Yes, yeah, yes." Mm-hmm. And they're like, "And shouldn't I call her out by name if we've been here for a while?" So now suddenly my character needed a name. And so they of course were joking, I think Tallulah or like Bertha or like really next to normal names were suggested. And then he finally said, "Why don't I just call her Jessica?" And I, on the outside, I kept the coolest demeanor. It's like, yeah, that sounds good. On the inside, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. He's going to call me by name. Yeah. And so in the scene, he's like, "Thanks, Jess," or Jessica. And then the other actor, forgive me, his name completely escapes me. And not because he's not a fantastic actor. It's because my memory is never good with names. He said he calls me Jess in the scene as well. So all of a sudden, like just through the rehearsal of the scene, the character suddenly has a name. Jess, the CNN reporter. So here we are. Nexium was the first thing that I did.
Yeah. That's like me and my Gold Bond. It really put me over the edge. But those little stories are not all that little, but they are things that feed us and make you feel good about yourself. And you are constantly investing in yourself as far as that goes for who you are.
Well, and you have to they like one of the little buzzwords or one of the little things that are said is reinvent and it's interesting. Like I feel like I might have gone recently through a reinvention or renaissance when I decided to make the shift. And you were asking like, how does one? Because like you had mentioned, I went to Millikan University, which is in Decatur, Illinois. It's where Sierra Bogus.
Yeah. Yeah, she worked at Fireside. I'm
picking that one up too.
Yeah, me too. I gotta pick it up too.
You can pick it up too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And wait, I got a better one too. It's both Little Mermaids. Jodie Benson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You did. Oh yeah.
She also, they both are went to Millikan. It's a smaller Midwest school, but it was the perfect school that I went to because not only could I continue my love for musical theater and make a degree and then continue on to a career of it, I was able to continue my violin performance studies because I was Suzuki violin trained there in Green Bay, Wisconsin with the Northeastern Wisconsin Talent Education. I think NWTE, Northeastern Wisconsin Talent Education. And I did that. Millikan! It is an amazing school. And I'm going to just they have a brand new, gorgeous, these kids have no idea how it was 25 years ago. Brand new, gorgeous theater, theater and dance facility. Nice. And I did not do my homework. I didn't, because I wasn't thinking to promote Millikan, but gorgeous, brand new, fresh built, like paint is still drying on it.
Wow.
And they're going to, I mean, sure, I bet ribbon cutting ceremony will start for the new school year. I mean, just gorgeous facility. Anyway, so I did a double major. I got a bachelor's degree in musical theater and in violin performance. And so how do you transition? Because there was no on-camera work at Millikan, not really. And so you just constantly have to educate yourself. And while I don't warm up in the shower every day. Like I don't sing every day. My calluses for my violin are like, there are none. But in order to learn how to be in front of a camera or really, because scripts for theater are a little different. Like you treat a script differently for theater than you do for television. I went back to class and I took classes here in New York. And it's interesting. One of the best classes I took, it simplified the script so well. I remember our instructor asked, he said, so what are they doing? And it was a class full of musical theater actors. And so we're like, I think he's contemplating the extra stitch, like all that kind of actory answer. He's like, no, what are they doing? What is it? Well, they're talking, they're having a comment. No, what does it say? He lights a cigarette. So okay. So you go off camera and you light your cigarette and then you got your cigarette. Okay. So, I mean, as like simplifying, it's so interesting. Like the art of acting on camera versus the art of acting on stage.
That makes me think of like my English classes. Sometimes the red door is just red. There's no bigger meaning. Sometimes it's just a red door.
This might actually be a segue. I might be helping you, but I do have a fun story similar to that too. I love that you said it might take an hour. This could be a 3-hour conversation. I like to tell stories.
We see some of our guests like Aaron and Molly and stuff. I'm sure they'll be piping in too. They can comment in.
And I told my family about it. So if they're watching, just wait. They might chime in with,
Yeah, they should.
Feel free, chime in. Embarrassing stories. It's okay. Annie, age 11. Go ahead.
Oh, you mean,
wait a minute before you tell that story. You mean this?
There she is. Look at that wide-eyed optimism. The sun will come out tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get to that. The Green Bay start.
There she is.
What's her story?
But the Red Door. My debut on Broadway was with Sweeney Todd, and if you saw the actor-musician version back in 2005, one of the key props that Michael Cerveris walked around with. I feel bad because they're friends of mine. So anyway.
Totally good. That's why you're here. I'm name dropping. Oh, Jessica Wright's here. You pick it up. Here we go. You're so
Thank you.
You're so humble. That's what I mean. You're down to earth, sweetheart. But keep going.
Well, so apparently I hope I'm not misconstruing this whole thing, but so one of the key props that Sweeney would walk around with was this little tiny white coffin, right? And everybody would ask John Doyle, the director, they would ask, so what's the white coffin? What does it mean? And it could either just be a red door, or he would always flip it. He'd say, well, what do you think it means? And people are quick to share. They love to share. And, so they would give all these elaborate explanations and blah, blah, blah. Turns out, his answer would be, you're right. No matter what the answer is, you're right. When they were rehearsing it in the original production over in England, it was literally shoestring budget, very small production, which is why all the actors had to be musicians as well, because he couldn't afford both. So he made both out of one. Made one out of both. They did shoe fittings that day, and he just needed to put something in the actor's hand. And there was a white shoebox. There you are.
There you are.
Sometimes the white coffin is just a white shoebox.
It's just a white shoebox. Yeah. So
And it how interesting that it developed into like everybody took something away from what the white coffin really was.
yeah.
And that, I mean, I think that's just a sign of brilliant directing too. That's something you have that's simple and easy, and everyone interprets it a different way.
That is one of my favorite things about that man, about John Doyle, the way he directs everything.
Right? It's this guy.
Yeah.
That guy. Now, you'll note I'm holding champagne and not touching the Tony because they say if you touch a Tony, you'll never win a Tony.
Oh, bad luck.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. But there he is.
Off the Tonys, everybody.
Yeah.
Don't touch it. Yeah. So I've never touched any award. I've never received an award, but that's okay. It's all right. The reward is here, right?
In your heart. So Jessica, with your violin being as part of your many talents, did that your first Broadway show was Sweeney with John Doyle, and it was self-contained shows where the actors are also the musicians,
which you are very well acquainted with.
Well, I auditioned. I mean, I did meet him too. I auditioned for.
No,
them.
But I mean the actor musician.
But those shows, yeah, exactly. But so the fact that you had that talent as well as, I mean, you had to have the whole package for them, didn't you? I mean, how do you prepare for an audition like that? How did that happen?
Well, I can say that was probably one of the as you can attest to. It's in casting directors. I don't know if they're aware sometimes the volume of material that they actually. No, okay, maybe I digress. It's not the volume of material. It's the personality of the person you're giving the volume of material to. A lot of times, like actor musician types tend to be perfectionists, and the shame spiral that happens if you don't get it all correct. So to prepare for that, I was given material for two of the characters. I think for Pirelli, who was played by a woman, and the beggar woman.
Yeah.
And not only did I have to prepare the scenes, I also had to prepare the songs, and I also had to prepare the instruments. Instruments of which it wasn't my first instrument. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, you're a musician, you play violin, great. Here's a trumpet.
Yeah.
Which happened. It happened in a production of back in my college days when I was at Music Theater Wichita. I'm dropping that name too, because that is another fantastic theater program, especially for aspiring actors who are in college and preparing, or even if they're not in college, if they're preparing for a professional career. I spent 2 summers with them in their resident company, and you do 5 shows. It's not in rep. It is you rehearse the show, and then as you're performing the show, you're rehearsing the next one. So it's in series, but you are treated, even in the ensemble. It's I don't know of any other theater that treats their ensemble as professionals and with as much dignity. Like, because you're a student, like you're non-equity, you're really just breaking in. And I've gone back to Music Theater Wichita as a professional actor, and it's this. I mean, the joy that I had there both times was just in abundance. But I digress.
No,
See, an hour. It's going to be super easy. So so we were doing Guys and Dolls, and the director Mark Madama, who teaches, he's a professor at University of Michigan. He also huge Green Bay Packers fan, by the way. We tight connection there. He said, "Oh yeah, so exactly that. Oh, you play violin, okay?" And they had asked me to play violin in the past in a previous season as like a fiddle player. So I'm like, yeah, great, okay. Would you be in a mission band? Yeah, sure, great. Here's a trumpet. Literally. And what do you say?
Yeah.
I said, okay.
Yeah.
I'll make it
So
work.
I did. I could blow 4 notes.
Sure.
4 notes, but you know what? It was charming because the mission band is not supposed to be great.
All you need are those 4 notes because it's only 2 chords or 3 chords or something like that. So
my trumpet line literally went bum bum ba-dum, bum 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 bum. 3 notes. I only played 3. Bum bum ba-dum, bum 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 ba-dum. Yep. The trombone took over the lead. So
yeah. Oh my gosh.
it was genius.
Yeah.
But so for Sweeney, I got back on track. So Sweeney, I had to learn flute for Pirelli, Donald Champlin, who is an extraordinary flautist. The charts were the charts were from the original score. They were not watered down. They were probably zhuzhed a little bit to help fill in the fact that there were only 10 instruments playing, not a full orchestra.
Right.
She had all these glorious runs and trill. I mean, woof. So I had to play my sister's student flute, a Gemeinhardt. God bless her for lending it to me. And I had to learn how to play the flute, and then not even learn how to play the flute. I had to really try to learn how to play the clarinet for.
Oh, about that, yeah.
Oh, you knew me. There she is. Yeah.
That's great.
And I was determined because it was the score. Here's the other thing too. It's not just the score to Sweeney Todd. It is memorized. Mm-hmm. It is a memorized score to Sweeney Todd. And I had to memorize the clarinet score. I had to memorize the flute score. I did not have to memorize the violin score, but I was also eventually after this audition process, cast as a violin cover as well. And that's a little interesting thing. They didn't ask me to bring the violin to the auditions, but I did because I walked into the room. They wanted me to play piano too. And I do not play piano. But what I did play, well, I'm not going to play the keyboard now. I played, for those of you of the nebulous age that, I'm claiming to be, there used to be a commercial for McDonald's, and it was a little girl in a recital, and she played for Elise. And there were like lyrics that went along. Oh, I wish I were already there instead of here playing the song. She was in her recital. And I would have a big chocolate shake, a cheeseburger, and also fries. And she'd make a mistake. So that's what I did for them. And I would eat them all myself and not give any to my big brother, adding personality, adding the next to normal into my audition. And they'd be mine, oh, mine, oh, mine. So finally at the end, you get to the end of the for Elise, and then it goes, da-da-dun, dun, da-da-dun, dun, da-da-dun, dun. Anybody else remember that jingle? Come on.
I don't, but
it's really? Ba-da-bum-bum, ba-da-bum. It's a good time it's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
Oh, sure.
This is before I'm loving it.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
None of the interns that were in the room for my audition, had no idea what the heck I was doing. But so I had to play the piano, and then I put the violin on top of the piano. I said, I know you didn't ask for it, but I'm putting it here because, like Linus and his blanket, I just feel better if it's in the room with me when I'm trying to do all this other. Yeah. And then they ended up casting me as the violin cover because they're like, oh, we need one. Dottie Stanley was the Mrs. Lovett cover for Patti LuPone. And then she also could play string instruments. She was really a violist. So she was trying to convert her viola skills over to violin skills. But then I walk in the room and they're like, oh, and she's like, thank you. Here's a score. Have fun.
But I guess, when you audition for those shows, that you have to have an instrument that you are comfortable on first. Just like you have to be, when you go in singing, you have to be comfortable being a singer and well-trained before you can adjust to different styles, I would think. Likewise with the dancer, you do have to have dance technique.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that you keep the foundation strong, so that you can improvise from that somehow.
Yeah. Did doing Sweeney then once you got involved with that? How did that and did it push you into other wonderful
Let me
opportunities?
just here's
Oh, wait.
Pirelli.
Oh, Pirelli.
Oh, so I just need to explain that moment. That is my Broadway debut. That is me sitting in the chair a month after being cast, going, holy moly, this is it. This is it, kid.
Yeah.
Getting my microphone into my hair, and that was getting ready. Moments before I stepped on the stage.
Yeah,
That's kind of a neat.
Yeah.
That's a neat shot, Jessica.
Yep. It's funny because I don't have any of me like ready to go on because
Right.
that particular show required so much focus, just not to scream, especially because most of the time, if you're in a show like that with John Doyle, you never leave the stage. And so you are responsible for something the entire time that story is being told. And as far as Pirelli is concerned, I have another fun story.
Go for it.
So the role of Pirelli, if you remember that particular version of Sweeney Todd, it was in like a surgical theater, like in kind of in a creepy. It's whatever. What do you think the theater was for? What do you think the surgery was for? But it was sort of a medical surgery type theater. And so trying to learn the show and figure out what any of it means, that was interesting, stepping into the middle of it when it was already, rehearsed. And anyway, so Pirelli she basically, that was one of the head doctors, and she was the one during the show and the storytelling who made sure everything happened and kind of sort of helped propel things to happen. She would pour blood buckets and move this, and she was responsible for so much of the movement that happened on the stage of chairs and this and push somebody in their place. It was a lot. It was a lot, but you didn't realize that's what she did. If somebody like Donald Champlin's doing it, who's doing it seamlessly. So needless to say, I had a cheat sheet. I'm crafty. I'm also type A. And so I had a card, like a heavy card stock, on one side in red, all of my prop movements. And it was about the size of a credit card. And then on the other side, I had a little white paper so you could read the red, you could read the blue. And then I put like packing tape over it to laminate it. And so in rehearsals, I'm like, okay, all right. And I would put it back in my pocket. Well, it was about literally one month, just shy of 1 month that I had been in the building and learning. And like I said, memorizing these scores and stuff. And I was in understudy rehearsal, I think on Thursday or Friday, because those are the 2 days that the understudies, the standbys are brought in to rehearse. And the floor to the set was raised, and it was planking, like wooden planking, so that it sounded hollow. And it was so cool. The effect, they had it mic'd so that they could have like reverberated footsteps. Oh, sure. So neat. And lit from underneath too. I dropped my cheat sheet into my carefully constructed Act 1, Act 2 card into the floor. Oh, no. And I was like, well, there we are. I have to know it now. I just have to know it. And sure enough, I believe it was that day, Donald Champlin came up to me and she said, hey, how'd rehearsal go today? I'm like, you know what? I think I can do it. This is why. And I told her why. And she goes, okay. The weekend happens. And Monday, she emails me. She goes, well, you're going to hear it from me first. You're on, kid. What? She said afterwards, she said, I think when you told me you were ready, my body was just like, okay. And she said, I got sick. Like she said, I definitely have to be away from the theater for 24 hours. So you are definitely on Tuesday night.
Wow.
I was all because I dropped a cheat sheet.
Drop your cheat sheet.
Yep. Well, you've done so many principal roles since then. How do you compare the stress level from being an understudy to having having the role from the start, being the principal role?
It's different. There's different things will can create anxiety, and it's all relative. Like when you're the standby or the understudy, especially in that kind of a production, you're responsible for, like I said, not only, we call them the track, the path that character takes from beginning to end, but you're also responsible for knowing the musical, all of, on that show too. You're not just responsible for the instrumentals, but you're responsible for each particular specific ensemble part. I know 3 female lines in More Hot Pies. Mrs. Lovett, because I did cover Mrs. Lovett on the road, but also the last.
Right there. Check out that Mrs. Lovett.
There she is. Something in that costume might actually be Patti LuPone's too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry, was that another name you just dropped?
Yep, indeed. But again, like, you know, she's a colleague, a castmate, you know. It's, yeah. Anyway, so
but once you work with those people, they all become, you realize that
everybody is a colleague.
Yeah.
Nobody truly, like when you work with some of the and Judy Kay, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, like, couldn't be more down to earth.
Yeah.
And like has nothing to prove.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of the 99% of the work environments I've had, 99% of my work environments have been so generous, and doesn't matter who was in the company. Everybody was a colleague.
Well, obviously, people really like you too, above and beyond your incredible talents, is that you are an incredibly likable person. Is that?
Thank you. I'll Venmo you later.
Okay, that's wonderful. But I mean, like I tell Carolyn, I said, what I'm saying is all true. And anybody who knows me knows that I don't necessarily sugarcoat. But so when you did Sweeney and you worked with John Doyle and you met him, once you get into that group of people and you did exceptionally well with your responsibilities in that show, did you have to re-audition for his other shows, or do the casting people just invite you to come back for these, like Company and Allegro?
Most of the time I did have to re-audition.
Okay.
Or not re-audition, but audition for the next. The one that I didn't was Company, and that was because so I had just done Sweeney Todd, and we had a funny get together meetup with the cast of Company. So Company was John Doyle's next Broadway production. They had already done a production at Cincinnati Playhouse in the Park, and it was that production that was moving. And so while Sweeney Todd and so nobody in Sweeney Todd could have been in that production because it overlapped. In the Cincinnati production. So as the production of Sweeney Todd slowly started noticing that we no longer had understudy rehearsals, and our Ricola / throat lozenge supply was starting to dwindle, and you know, the little key things that you just noticed, you're like, I think we're coming close to the end of this. We had what we call, well, jokingly, we called it the out with the old and with the new. We had a little mixer with the Company cast, which Steve also attended. So Steve.
You mean this guy?
That's Steve.
That guy. Yeah, that guy. Okay, here's another funny story. All right, here we go. So I'm on for the first time. I joined the company of Sweeney Todd in the very end of January, and I did not go on for The Beggar Woman for Diana DiMarzio. Talk about glorious soprano and like ridiculous clarinet player. I mean, I see the two go together hand in hand, right? Phenomenally talented. She was never out until she finally took a vacation in July. And it took about that long for me to feel confident that I could play the clarinet on stage in front of a Broadway audience. So I had my week of vacation that I went on for her. And so I just, okay, went on and I did my best. And it was I was very proud of myself. So finally I was able to let my concentration break the fourth wall, which means look out at the audience during curtain call. And I look, and who's sitting on the stairs leading up to the mezzanine at the back of the house in his regular spot? That guy, Mr. Sondheim, Steve. I'm like, oh my God, I'm fired. I'm fired because he just saw that. Oh, and like all of the insecurities just came flooding back after I thought I did such a good job. I'm like, oh God, he saw that one. That was the night of our Out with the Old and with the New gathering. And so he thought, I'm here, so I'll go watch some Sweeney Todd. And so he saw me perform The Beggar Woman.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
That just feels like it would be such a surreal experience.
You talk about, the insecurities come up. I wonder if people like him have insecurities.
You know what? Probably everybody does, right?
Some way, shape, or form.
I suppose once you have success, to keep living up to that. That's life. That's life.
Seriously, like I was thinking about that with like what's happening right now. Celebrities doing all of their celebrity stuff from home. Mm-hmm. It really it just reminds you that the celebrity and that success in the profession is just an element of somebody's life. Like people are people. People you know what? Like right now, am I wearing pants? I don't know.
You don't know.
I could be wearing sweatpants. I'm wearing pants, by the way. I'm definitely wearing pants, but I'm in slippers, I'm home.
Yeah.
Like I said, my husband and my daughter are in the other room. Like Emma has to be doing her homework. She should be doing her.
Should be. Watch your mama.
But
mama. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter who anybody is. And I think that's what really marks a true, I don't want to say true celebrity, but like a true professional is when the celebrity of that position, of the height that somebody may have risen, it doesn't affect them.
Well, as it was said yesterday too, we all put our pants on the same way. So there you go.
We can all get caught with spinach in our teeth. I mean, we're all human beings. Yeah.
And so I really believe that no matter where you are, you came from here. You grasped the opportunities here in Green Bay when you were growing up, and then it took you to school and you grasped those opportunities and you just kept going. You felt the calling and you continued to invest in yourself and believe in who you are. Another question I want to ask though about Sweeney, which would be, all the other shows too. How long does it take? Is the rehearsal process for a Broadway show, let's say?
Really, it kind of depends on how much of a budget the producers are willing, and it also depends on I think it's contractual with Actors Equity. It really, it's funny because I have only ever been in the actual rehearsal process from the beginning of a Broadway show once. I came into Sweeney Todd when it was already in rehearsals. I came into company. I was saying, I was given the opportunity to do company when they literally called. My agent called, "Get back on track." I can get back on track, sort of, and then I'll get back on the other track. I'm a train that derails and gets back on. Company was I was on the subway train above ground. And you can't get a call on the subway train. I was above ground waiting for the train, and my agent calls saying, "Hi, yeah, company needs a standby while one of their actresses, because the company had just moved into the theater. They were about to move into the theater after rehearsing in the rehearsal studios. They were about to go through tech, through their previews, and then open. And they said, Heather Laws, who played Amy, the Pardon Me, Is Everybody There, the Patter song, had literally just given birth. God bless her. She was, by the way, up on her feet, like had literally gave birth. Jane Fitch, her standby, they knew this was all, obviously they knew she was pregnant and so this was all planned. Jane Fitch stepped into Heather's role during tech previews and all that. And then they needed somebody in the building just during previews to be able to stand by for the characters that Jane covered. And I happened to fit, and having just come off the experience of really knowing how to stand by efficiently, they're like, do you want to do it? I'm being handed a Broadway show.
Hello. So really, I mean, every show, of course, is different, but they, a lot of times it has its beginnings in a regional theater. They create it, and then it comes to when the theater is available. If they want a particular theater in New York, then they go to New York. They can get there, but then they rehearse for. And it's not really a long.
Could be 5 weeks, could be 4 weeks, could be. It's only a matter of a few weeks. And actually, even before a regional theater production, the birth of a musical in general is years in the making.
Yeah,
years in the making. Like shows go through little table reads and little demo recordings, and they go through workshops, and now there's something called labs, and then it could be years. In fact, there's a musical that I've been working on for 4 years now that is in the process. It's called Eastbound. Kayan Hersey and Chiang Ning they're the writers of it. Kayan was involved with Hamilton. Chiang is a brilliant vocalist actor himself, and this is a musical that I really think has some solid legs. But they are very meticulous about their writing process and their storytelling, and they just very much want to get it right. Yes. Because by the time the public knows about it, the general public knows about the show, it has already gone through an exorbitant amount of rewrites and readings and workshops to get it to that point. And then even at that point, if the show plays a regional theater or then moves on to a Broadway theater, the changes that are made there too are crazy. It's just the whole experience. So to say 5 weeks of rehearsal, it is just for that tiny little Broadway nugget of this whole
just the tip
process.
You know, the show that you did that I just love, and people just love it when they know about it, is Warhorse.
Ask about Warhorse.
Oh my gosh, Warhorse.
That was magical. That was sincerely just magical. Yep. And I had another picture I almost gave you guys, which the lighting was terrible and it was very unflattering. But it's me with Joey, the horse, the puppet.
Puppet horse, yeah.
FYI, if you want, because I think the people who are watching right now are hungry theater lovers.
Oh, and look, Teresa saw you in it.
Oh, that's what
Oh, I forgot about that, because I was on for 10 weeks. And this is, again, another one of those experiences where I had gone in for the original production and I wasn't quite right. They wanted really earthy and I am the picture of earthy. If you can see this, oh gosh, like I could play 50s housewife totally without issue. But I went in and I played because again, it was a violin, but it had to be this very, like folk music, like European type folk music, just gorgeous. And Warhorse took place during World War I.
Yeah.
And so so the actress who played the song woman had an injury that developed over the course of the first year of the run of the show. She had to take it turned out to be about a 10-week medical leave to recover, because playing the violin, she had lost feeling in her thumb. it was an injury with nerves on her back, and she was able to recover 100% and come back. But what that allowed for was a magical 10 weeks that I got to have with the show. That just, I mean, it was the experience, like the character itself, the song woman, she wasn't necessarily part of the actual story or the storytelling. The song woman, along with the song man, there were two of them. One played accordion and one played the fiddle, and we both sang. When I was head song woman, I envisioned myself as the voice of Joey, because the story is really about this war horse and how can he make his way back home? And can the boy who loved this horse as a farm horse bring him back home through putting himself through a war? I mean, I have goosebumps. And the moment,
Beautiful show.
the moment that will forever hold this delightful, wonderful place in my heart is when Pony Joey, the magic of theater, Pony Joey, puppeteered by two actors, turns into grown-up Joey. I mean, if you could see it, like head to toe, and the song woman sings this transition and plays, and I every time I had a lump in my throat. Every single time I had to sing through a lump.
A horse and a violin together. I mean, that's
magic.
That's
magic.
I would love to see that show again. And if anybody has never seen it,
this is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
For the theater hungry people watching, it is going to be hard to find it now because Warhorse the movie has come out since then. I mean, years ago. But if you are able to, and I think it's on YouTube, if you're able to find the West End production of Warhorse was first.
That's the one we saw.
If you can find the rehearsal footage, it's like video diary of rehearsals and watching the actors learn how to manipulate and how to give life to these puppets. That is what, because like I said, I had gone in for it originally and I was like, wow, this sounds like a cool show. And then I got the call to come in for the replacement and I did my research. I got sucked in because that's what I found to watch, to study up on the show. Yeah. Sucked in and bit and totally pulled into the magic of it. I'm like, I have to do this. I have to do this show.
I think that aired on PBS or something of that nature.
I think the production did because they actually and it was the West End production. I think they like if you donate now, you can get a copy of Warhorse, the DVD. Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask another question about another phenomenal production that you were in. I'm going to ask this on behalf of Molly Maher Lucarelli. Did you do Suburb?
I did, yes.
See, Molly?
I did. Okay.
If Molly is still watching, because they were the kids, they're 30 years old now. The kids were talking about their high school productions.
Yes, my dear friend Molly went to Southwest. And she said,
Trojans. I am class of 92. Now you can figure I'm 46 years old. I don't care.
And we were talking about our high school musicals. And she mentioned that Southwest did Suburb. Here she goes.
No way.
What?
Yeah.
The outside is lovely. The inside's ideal. It's almost a dream house, except that it's real. As lovely a home as we're likely to see. Perfect for someone, not me. Yep.
There you go, Molly.
You go. Molly, was that it? Is that the Suburb that you did?
You're not alone.
All about talking at the mall. Why don't we go for a trip to the mall? Now nobody knows about malls anymore, because
that's right.
But it was genius. David Javerbaum, actually. If you look him up, he was a head writer and won an Emmy for the. I know, right? He won an Emmy for writing for the Jon Stewart, the Daily Show for Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
he was the writer on. In fact, I'm on the demo. If what exists is the demo recording to learn the show, that's me on the demo recording, singing that role.
And I saw you in it and went to see the show, and we thought it was fun and delightful. You know,
that was one of my understudies. I was an understudy, and I never actually went on.
Yeah,
but they did ask me to record the demo afterwards, and so I was like, yes, I would love to.
You've worked on a lot of new productions, like you said. You're working on one now, new shows and stuff. That's fun, isn't it?
It is fun. The only downside, I mean, it's so important to try to get your feet in and get, because if you have, well, you hope to get in from the bottom up, because that you hope that it means that you help create it, and then you're attached to it.
Yeah.
If it does. But it's so hard too, because as writers are making new works, there's not a good paycheck involved with helping develop.
Before our time runs out, we'll talk about a paycheck that would be probably good. Is that you also sing opera, and we saw you in Candide. And, I mean, how was it to work with that director?
So we have a joke, and this is no disrespect, but because I cannot wrap my head around the enormity of the fact that he really was a friend, truly, not just colleague, but he was a friend. So we call him Fingerling, only because small potatoes, like he's totally small potatoes in the business, right? No, yeah, that guy, put him up. Yeah, I know you have a picture of him.
I have to get to it. Keep chatting. We'll
chatting. Well, so I can tell you, I met him after I met Stephen Sondheim, and they work together. The first time I was in his presence, I truly, it was out of body. I was like, who am I, and what am I doing here? Yeah, should I spoiler alert? Should I tell? Who it was?
I'm having problems pulling up this photo. We'll get there though.
No worries. Mr. Harold Prince.
Yeah.
Now I'm somebody, when I was a kid, the reason I'm doing what I'm doing, a couple different steps. Annie is what introduced me to musical theater at Theater on the Bay up in Marinette, Wisconsin.
Yeah, girl.
And then I discovered Phantom of the Opera in high school, and that was it. I was like, that's where I learned the love of the storytelling, and how Prince. I had the complete collection of Phantom of the Opera book. There's also a picture I love sharing on Facebook quite often. I don't mind bringing her out because I'm proud of her. Is my high school senior photo with the mask, the hair, the mask, the program, like all the accoutrement that I was wearing. Phantom of the Opera perfume. I had Phantom ear. Yeah, obsessed with Phantom of the Opera. So when I actually had a chance to meet the man, I mean that, and he. Oh, and you know what? He's like, hey, pal, like just, and I miss him. I really miss him. So knowing that you were probably going to ask, that I think, I could just ramble and, inarticulately try to explain. But again, one of those moments in your life where you're like, the group of people that you find yourself in. I was one of 35 people asked to sing at his memorial. So that alone, I didn't do a lot of, because it just felt ooky. But personally, I couldn't believe that the universe understood who this man was to me. He was the biggest champion for actors. And if he wrote you, and he always wrote you back. Like we had email communication. It's no secret. I had a heart attack when I was 34. I'm fine. It's inexplicable. They're not sure why. I've had a baby ever since. Like, I'm totally fine. He had some health issues himself, and we already knew each other at that point. And he sent me flowers, just had sent flowers because he heard that this happened, and he had a card. It was handwritten. And he's like, Jessica, word of advice. Do what the doctors tell you. Take what the doctors tell you to do, and rest. That's it. This is all you got to do. just anyway, so the best quote that I heard was at that memorial, and it was Carol Burnett, and she had the most glorious story, of course, Hollywood story, and of how he was going to help with her musical, her story. And then at the end of her speaking, she said, "I might not remember what he did. I might not remember what he said, but I will never forget how he made me feel."
Oh,
and
nice.
that is that man. So it's funny you ask how did I feel? I mean, the spectrum. When I first met him, I was like, I was out of body. And then at the end, I couldn't believe that, like, I felt so important to him.
Well, Jessica, you make everybody that you meet feel good too.
Oh,
I'm so happy that you did this with us.
I'm going to pull this up just because, speaking of Hal Prince and being in Candide, that I think this photo is beautiful.
Oh, that photo. That was so
I think
great.
that photo is just stunning.
Thank you. That one is.
You're in the middle.
I know. I'm okay. I don't have my glasses on. This is because I'm vain. That is from the.
Is that the second time?
No, that's the second one. Yes. So that's Brooks. I'm name dropping again.
That's the first one.
That's the first one. Yeah. Richard Kind is playing Pangloss, and that's Daniel Reichard as what's the character name? Hi, Candide. Yes.
Candide. I mean, you are just such a genuine person, and you're so generous, and we're all so proud of you. And I want everybody to know that I'm so glad that you took the time to come and do Play-by-Play's first show. That
there she is.
That you are, I know, you're so proud of your roots. And, I don't know if you color your hair, probably the wrong roots, I don't know.
No. Oh, please. There they are.
Your roots, but I didn't know those roots, of course. We are so proud of you and so happy that everything is going well with you and the family and your work. And I hope people can pull away from this, just be reminded that we are family. Theater is family.
Do I have 1 minute to tell my antidote?
Sign off.
Carolyn, pull up the picture of when Mary and I met. So I was a newbie.
Oh, I have a different photo, but same production.
Okay, cool. So so we were in, yay, there it is. That is Radio Gals at Actors Theater of Louisville in 1997, right?
Yeah, we're both squatting down on the ground here.
Look at that. Yep. And so the first night that we were assembled as a cast in Louisville, we all went to a Checkers. Oh
my God.
And I remember just this little group of people. And I just remember talking to somebody on this side. I think probably Mike Craver, because I had met them.
Oh.
I knew Mike and I knew Maka Rice from was Michael Rice in that? Yeah, I think he was, right? It was Mike Craver and Michael. I knew them from the off-Broadway production, which was how I got my start in New York, covering America and Renabelle, your part. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my ear, I heard Green Bay. And all I did, whatever was happening here, shut down. I'm like, what? Who said Green Bay? And you did. You said, well, I did. I said Green Bay. Why? What did you say? What? That's where I'm from originally. And then that was it.
That was it.
We've been together ever since.
Carolyn was a teeny tiny little something. And I remember you had the Easter bunny visited. And Matthew was teeny tiny too, right?
Yeah, he was like 4 years old.
Yeah.
He was tinier than me.
And shortly thereafter, you guys had me up every week. I know the purpose was to teach Carolyn violin, which I did. Well, okay. I was okay. I'm not a teacher. I did all right. Carolyn, you did better than I did as a student.
Oh,
versus teacher.
You're very sweet.
But the most enjoyable, talk about family. You guys are family. Family dinner every Tuesday. It was, I knew as an actress who was just trudging along in New York City, I knew I had family and delicious meal cooked by Mark, which, by the way, I still have the recipes that he gave me, and I still concede he left something out.
Yeah. See, he and Hal, Mr. Prince.
Yeah.
They left us feeling, they made us always feel good.
Yep.
And Jessica, gosh, you make me feel good too. And I hope everybody appreciates it. Thank you, sweetie. Hug your husband and your daughter.
Will do.
Stay well, my friend. Stay well.
You too.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. Thank you to Jessica. We love you. Stay safe, stay well. And if you're able to, we know times are tight, but keep the arts alive. Donate to your favorite local arts organization or theater group. And we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, with our next guest, Adriana Trigiani. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.